And hi YouTube also. So I have one big thing to share today, and I have another that if I have time maybe I'll do a stream later on in the day. But wanted to give you a little bit of update on what's happening in our neck of the woods, because you might be curious about this. So let's cover that up for a second. This is, here, let me mark where I'm at on the map. I'm right here. There we go. This is me. YouTube, can you see that? Here you go. We're right here. And this is Irma. It's gonna come up from the Caribbean, and we should cross paths at some point very, very soon. Within the next 3-4 days, I think, is the plan here. So yesterday I spent most of the day rescheduling sessions and working out logistics of how am I going to deal with the pause in business, and mainly just because my Mondays and Tuesdays are my big coaching days, and Monday is when we should have a loss of power and where we should have no capabilities at all. So we're gonna hunker down, we're staying here, we're not evacuating, and so we'll just see what happens. Luckily, from the looks of things, this storm, by the time it gets to us, even though right now it's really it's extremely destructive, by the time it gets to us up here, it's here you can see that number 2. You see that? That means it's going to be a category 2, which is nowhere near as destructive a hurricane. And then by the time it gets to us, I think it's a 1, actually. So we'll see what happens with that. And what's ironic about this is, like, I'm running at this point, we're actually starting on Monday the largest coach training of this type of we're running advanced trainings at times, Master Coach University, and this is the largest training of this type that we've ever run. You can see this is my little mini roster here. We've got almost 20 coaches that are actually in what we call the strategy immersion training. Here's our big fat manual for this training. And so anyway, this starts on Monday, and in fact, I might share this with the strategy coaches, because of what I'm about to talk about is actually important for them, probably more important for them than it is for you. But anyway, so I'm starting that on Monday. We've got 20 coaches or so that are going to be in it, or something, approaching 20, and I'm going to be in the middle of a hurricane at that time. So that's the way things go sometimes. But what I wanted to share with you today was something that I think coaches regularly wrestle with, which is, am I really important? Am I really needed by my clients need me? Is this going to really make a difference for them? Is it going to make them more money? Is this going to help them in the relationships? Is this going to make a difference for their business? Is this going to help them with their time? Am I any more important than just a glorified organizer? Am I any more needed than just a friend to talk to? And by the way, this is not to put down organizers or good friends, right? But when I'm paying a coach, $500 a month or $1,000 a month, I should be getting more than I'd get from just a good friend. I should be getting more than what I get from somebody who comes in and organizes my closet or something like that. Although evidently personal organizers can make that kind of money too. Would I pay a personal trainer that amount of money? Maybe, depending on who I am and what kind of support I want, right? Hey Darlene, great to see you. So that that's the question I think a lot of coaches ask, because if we're gonna have a successful business, we got to know that we're valuable, that we're actually providing some value. Does that make sense? And I hope it does, because I think that, I was doing my exercises early this morning, and I do stretches early in the day, and so I just pulled on some YouTube videos, and Gary Vaynerchuk showed up, and in fact, let me YouTube, you're not going to get this, but Facebook, I'll just pop in the videos that I was watching, that I kind of came across. They just kind of popped up in succession, and I see these videos, and the first one is Gary around a group of kids, right? And they're asking him all these questions. They're saying, what about kids who had hard lives and were abused? What about kids that grew up poor? What about kids that their parents didn't love them or they beat them? And Gary's like, I don't know, but I know that, you just can't give a fuck, as Gary likes to say. I know that, you need confidence. I know that you need to just try stuff. And he's giving them all this advice, right? Give him all this advice. And I see these kids sitting there like, wow, yeah, that makes sense. And then invariably, one of them will say, yeah, but that's not me, or that's not natural for me. I'm not naturally confident. I don't give a shit about what people say or what people think. That's not automatic for me. Gary, how do I do that? How do I do that? So it's kind of like, here, let me put my little sign up here. So, and again, YouTube, I apologize. I don't know how to get this, how to get this to be non-mirrored for you, but maybe you'll switch it around. I don't know. But anyway, so it's like, he'll give advice. He'll say, you should have confidence. You should have confidence. And then there's always like this question mark at the end of that advice. It's like, well, yeah, but how do I do that? So he's telling them the what, but not the how. Or he tells them a little bit about the how, but they don't naturally implement it. They don't naturally make it happen. So it ends up being like a guru sharing all this advice. And I think personally, like, a guru can inspire someone. I think a guru can can even cause someone to have confidence. And I think the reason it happens, let me just give you this visual here, is like, here's the guru, and the guru is above everybody else. So the guru is kind of an authority. It's an authority figure, right? And that authority figure, says you should be confident, or you should do this, like just whatever the advice is. You've heard this before, right? The guru gives the advice. He dishes out the advice to the masses or to the people that follow the guru. And so a lot of times, some people in the masses, not everybody, but a few of them at least, will follow that advice, or they'll get confident, or they won't give a shit anymore, or whatever. And why do they do that? Well, they don't do that because the guru said it only, although that was part of it. They don't do it because they transformed inside themselves. They did that because the guru is an authority. So it's really just a plea to authority. The reason why I would listen to Gary and take his advice, well, you're an authority. Everybody looks up to you. You must be right. The reason I'm going to listen to this guy, whoever that is, the Tony Robbins, the Brian Tracys, the Harv Ekers, the gurus in that world, whatever world I'm in, is because you are an authority. You must be right. So it's really an argument from authority more than anything. So the only reason that the gurus are that helpful, outside of any strategy that they might work with, I'm not talking about someone as a strategist, because Gary Vaynerchuk is a great strategist for certain people in certain areas. A Tony Robbins is a guru, but he's also a great strategist and a great coach for certain people at certain moments. The problem with most of these guys, most of these gurus, is not that there's something wrong with them or they don't get good advice, or maybe even not that they're good coaches. I mean, there's some of them are really great coaches, some of them are not. Gary has some great coaching skills, and there's other coaching skills that he's completely lacking in. Doesn't have it all. So what the problem is with the gurus is that people treat them like gurus, and the only reason somebody, or many of them, are doing what the gurus say, or getting inspired by the gurus, or transformed as a result of going to the guru seminar. A lot of my students and coaching clients, they went to a leadership academy, I think last weekend. I think it was last weekend, this most recent weekend, with Tony Robbins, and they're totally transforming, right? But the reason why most people will actually get a result from those gurus is because of authority of the guru. They're not really getting coaching from them. They're not really receiving strategy. They're not really truly transforming. They're just seeing some strategy. I'm sorry, scratch that. This is a live stream. Excuse me. They're just seeing the authority that the guru has, and so that authority kind of, if I can draw the picture real time, that authority kind of trickles down to you. And you say, well, I'm doing what the guru does, so I'm the authority now, right? That's all you got. So most people take a guru who might be a great coach or might be a great strategist, like Gary and Tony are, and they use the best of their abilities they put those people in a position of authority. They put them in a position of the guru, and they take some action, or they do something as a result of that. But they really don't get any long-term changes, and usually it doesn't stick, and usually they actually aren't able to execute and implement what the guru asked or what the guru said. And the reason is because it's this authority play that the guru takes advantage of in their business or in their practice, and it's the authority play that you and I put the guru in a position of, that kills off any possibility of transforming or of really receiving the strategy or really getting the full-on advice that that guru maybe could provide. And a lot of these gurus don't even have any of those skills or any of those types of things to offer. They're just, they're just doing the guru thing, and that's it. So the point of that is that gurus have limited value to add for most of the people that actually work with them. Why? Because they're authority figures. They're not operating as the way that coaches operate. As a coach, where's my little confidence thing? If I'm coming to a coach and I say, confidence, Gary said I need confidence. I can't get the confidence. What do I do to get this confidence? As a coach, I can actually have a transformational conversation with you that would cause that confidence to show up in you with, literally in a session, in 15 minutes. Or I could actually, if I'm a great strategist as a coach, like we're talking about in strategy immersion training, I could actually give you a confidence strategy where you can go execute that and actually generate the confidence that Gary's been talking about, and all these kids with their mouth open just saying, wow, Gary, you're so great. That's what most people are getting from these gurus. They're getting, you're so great. It's just more, the guru gets more from that conversation than the client or than the audience or than the participants do. I think this is what they call a rant. Anyway, so it's the gurus, it's the authors that are getting all the benefits there. Yeah, it's like a parent, Darlene. Yeah, it's like mommy said this, Now look, parents, like real parents that are there every day, that truly care about their children, they become more than authorities. They are authorities, but they're also friends, they're playmates, they're family members, they're coaches potentially, right? So, a parent is so much more than authority figure, and they're that too, right? So, and if they're only an authority figure, and by the way, some of us had parents that, and a lot more often is on the dad side, because dads, we leverage our authority more often, but we're like, they're only an authority figure. We're not really connected with them. We really aren't. They're not a coach for us. They're not a friend for us. They're just authority. And of course, we know, we've seen so many stories about where that goes and how bad that goes. It's like my dad, he taught me some things, but I never really connected with any of them. And so I've received none of the value of that. And by the way, dad as that authority, dad might have had just some phenomenal advice or some great coaching. But because Dad and I, as co-created them as just an authority, and we had no real connection, no real coaching conversation going on, I didn't connect with that. I didn't transform as a result of that. And in fact, it's like, this is a cliche. Dad was a priest, and Dad was an authority for me, not a friend or not a loved one, not a family member, not a coach. And so I became a rock star. I'm the opposite of the priest, right? So and by the way, that's not to say that's not okay. I mean, you might have gotten value from that, right? From going off in a very separate direction, doing the opposite of what Dad did. But I never got the value of what the priest could have given me because I never really connected with them. Or, Dad was, a great business leader, right? But he was an authority figure, so I never really connected with Dad. He was just authority to me. And so, now I'm just, I'm just a worker bee, or, a ditch digger, or maybe I became an artist or something like that. So again, there could be value from that disconnection. But what if I'm a starving artist? What if I'm a starving artist and Dad was a business person, but what I learned from that authority figure was, business is like you won't connect with people, you don't care, it's not personal, and so I'm, forget it, I'm not going to be that business person. I got zero value. I got nothing from Dad as the business, right? And so I'm a starving artist. I have no chance to make money with my art. My art stays small and doesn't make a contribution that it could. Why? Because the authority figure and it was this thing. I was disconnected with you. And so I'm disconnected with the lessons and the coaching that could have provided me. And again, a guru can still provide those, but it's just not as likely, it's not as valuable as what the coaches provide. It's not as valuable. So as a starving artist, I stay a starving artist, and I need that help, and Dad could give it to me, given it to me because Dad was just the authority figure for me. I never really received it. I never got it. If Dad could have been my friend, my coach, my strategist, that would have made a bigger difference. And that's what's really sad about this guru thing is like, is it really valuable for anybody other than the guru? I'm not saying it's not. It's just, I think it's limited valuable. It's limited value. And this is why I'm saying is coaches are more important than gurus. Why? Because the confidence question ends up being actual confidence. Instead of me telling you in a session or in a speech, like on this live stream, hey, you should have confidence. Okay, go have confidence. Good luck with that. Let me know how it goes. I'll just, sit back here and wait for you to have confidence. Let me know how it's going. Have you paid my fee yet? Have you bought my book yet? That's what's going on most of the time. How valuable is that really? As opposed to me saying, you know what? You want confidence? Stand up. Move your body in a way that's confidence. Have you ever had a time when you were confident? What was it like? What did you see at the time? What did you hear at the time? What did you think? What did you focus on? Okay, go ahead and do that right now. Put a big confident smile on your face. Move in the way that you would move as if you were confident. And actually have them do that in a session. Okay, I mean, I'm getting into the weeds here. I don't want to get into the examples of what I would do with a client. Or, hey, what stops you from having confidence? Okay, what thought is that? What belief is that? What conversation is that? What relationship is going on for you where you're not confident? Where are you confident? Okay, what needs does it meet for you to be not confident? Are you getting more certainty from that? Are you trying to control things? All of a sudden I'm diagnosing, I'm having a real conversation with them. I didn't hear that from Gary Vaynerchuk today in those little videos. You know what his answer was when they asked, okay, I can't have confidence, help me. He said, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. And by the way, it's not about a coach knowing and like a guru not knowing. It's about the process a guru will take with their minions, which is just dishing it out and moving on to the next buyer. And a coach, the process of a coach would take with an individual or even a group client, of actually digging down and finding out what's going on, to diagnose, to actually get leverage and motivate, to actually take them through the paces. Like if I was an NBA coach or I was an Olympic coach, you know, maybe I'm not an amazing diagnostician or even strategist, but maybe I just get you to do your laps every day. I can hold you to account for that. It's accountability, right? But these conversations are much deeper than a guru is going to take you, usually, or that you will allow a guru to take you because you separate yourself from them. So, you know, that's the point I wanted to offer you today. And I hope I didn't go too off on a tangent here. But if you've got thoughts on this or examples or questions, feel free to you know, pop them in the chat. But you know, when I was rescheduling a lot of my clients yesterday because of the hurricane and everything, and you know, my coaching days are completely full on Monday and Tuesday, just packed. And you know, they used to not be like that for a while when I was really building Master Coach University t-shirt. That's my branding. When I was building Master Coach University, you know, I wasn't doing a lot of coaching, although I had coached for years before that, and I've gone back to doing some coaching now, and you know, so my days are just packed full with clients, and I get booked out about 30 days in advance or so, which can be actually frustrating for my clients. So sorry, clients, but yesterday I sent an email. I said, you know, you guys, hurricane, let's reschedule for Friday. And literally, I didn't print out the proof, but literally that entire day, my entire Friday, got booked within hours by the end of that day. And I was like, why? You know, why is that happening? Is it because I'm some guru? Is it because, you know, I'm so great? Because they think that I'm so much better than them? I would say for the majority of them, that is absolutely not the case. You know, I'm not saying they don't look up to me or something like that, but we don't have a guru relationship most of the time. We have a coach relationship, we have a friend relationship, we have an accountability relationship, we have a strategist relationship. Those combined together, those of you that, I'll post the link to that video later. I don't have it right now, but there's like the different kinds of coaches, and a guru is one of the kind of coaches, right? Because he can give certain amounts of confidence because of what we talked about before, which is that authority thing. Right? But, I mean, that's generally not my play. So I think the reason why, I mean, what are the reasons why that, you know, my clients will just very, very quickly, you know, get their scheduling handled, so they want to be on those sessions. They always show up to those sessions. And why do they stick around? I mean, I have clients now that are sticking around for year after year after year. Not all of them, but, you know, some of them, that's exactly what's happening. And I'm asking myself why, and there's a lot of reasons, but part of the reason that I wanted to share with you today was that I'm not your guru. Hey Thomas, I'm not here to be your guru. You know, if you're gonna work with me, the important news or the bad news to get is that there are no gurus here. There is none of this. I'm gonna throw this away anyway. There is none of this. There's none of that. You don't get off that easily with your coaching relationship with me. Because in our relationship, I am not the guru. I am not the star. You are the star. Some of you have heard me have this conversation with you before. You're not going to get off the hook just because you paid my fee. That, like, everything is coming from me. It's actually the opposite. Everything's coming from you. If you're working with me, I guarantee nothing. You know, what I'm going to give you, nothing that you don't already have. I'm not going to give you. I'm not giving you what, you know, that guru relationship. I ripped it up, so you can't really see it now. But you're not going to get that. What you're gonna get is a process, a conversation, possibly a friend, some accountability to get off your ass when you need to. It's like. And by the way, it's more than just a friend. I mean, a friend conversation is like, you know, oh, you're late or you didn't do what you needed to do. That's okay. It's all right. I accept you. You're my friend. And then, like, when you leave, it's like, that guy, they never get anything done. They're so full of shit. That's a friend. Sometimes, at least. That's kind of the negative side of the friend. There are also really great sides. Friends listen. They appreciate you. They they acknowledge you. I mean, there's beautiful things about what a friend can provide, and a friend is a form of coach to some extent. But it's a different conversation with a coach. With a coach, it's like, what? You were late. You didn't do what you said you would do. Okay, be on time next time. Get it handled. And what got in your way? And what are you going to do to transform that? Let's get to work. That's more the accountability relationship, right? The drill sergeant-ish type of piece, So no, you don't get off easily with me. I'm not the star. I'm not your, as Tony Robbins likes to say, which is funny because, he's such a guru. He's like, his movie is I'm Not Your Guru. Why do you think he titled the movie that? Or, it wasn't his movie. I mean, it was a documentary about him. But he said that. I mean, it was a quote from him. Why do you think he said that? Because he understands. He knows the vast majority of you, when you go to his seminar, you go to, where's that book that I have? Here it is. You go here, go to Leadership Academy like a lot of my clients did last week. You go to Wealth Mastery University. You go to all those different seminars. He knows that 90% of them are not going to get the full Monty of what they could get. He knows. And by the way, it doesn't mean they're not satisfied. Doesn't mean they're not transformed to some extent. It's just what goes up must come down. What do you expect? That's what's going to happen. And he knows that from experience, and he really does care. I mean, Tony, if anything matters to him, it's what happens for people that he touches, right? It's why some of the coaching demonstrations that you'll see from him are so phenomenal. But the reason why I think he says something like that is because he understands what a problem it is at some level if you want to give the vast majority of value to a client or to a friend or to somebody on your team or whatever. So no, you don't get off easy with me. I'm not your guru. So I think that's one of the big things that will keep a client around is that they know it's like you're not empowering me. You're creating a space where I can empower myself. You're creating a conversation with me. We've co-created it. I need you as the client. I need you as the star. I need you as the star player on the team to go out there and be a huge part of this conversation that's going to empower you along with your actions and everything you're up to. That's what I depend on you for. Me, I'm just the coach. I'm just the guy on the sideline scratching himself, yelling from the sideline, calling plays or kicking your butt or asking questions or drawing a map or whatever. That's me. You are my star player. You're not even my star player. You're the star player. And we're together on this team, so you lose, I lose. Although I'm not in the game, if you lose, I lose. Because I'm part of this team, in a way. So I think that's one of the huge reasons why, as it says in the description here, why coaches are more important than gurus. And coaches got to get that. If you're in strategy immersion, starting next week, and you're like, I don't know if I can coach, I don't know if I have the confidence for that, and especially the brand new coaches will go through our Quick Start program or certification or something like that, they're questioning their value. If you want to question how great a coach you are, if you want to question your skills, okay, fine. That might be healthy because maybe you get off your ass and learn them, right? And go do something with it, right? I question that stuff all the time. But you want to question your value. I want to share this because you got to remember that you are more valuable than Tony Robbins to most people that will come into contact with him. You're more valuable than Gary Vaynerchuk for most people that will come into contact with him. You're more valuable than them. And most of us coaches, those are the people that we look up to. And it's time to stop idolizing them as if they're more important than us, more valuable than us, and better than us. You got to stop that. I got to stop that. Because the fact is, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. Will they impact more people potentially? Will they sell more books potentially? I suppose. We can do that too. You know, we can do the guru thing too, but what they're not going to do is they're not going to add the value that a coach adds 99.9% of the time. They're just not. It's, you know, not to blame them. It's just that your role as a coach is exponentially more valuable than that. In fact, you want to know a little secret? I'll tell you a secret. If you've ever seen any of the testimonials that come, like, let's talk about Tony Robbins for a second. Any of the testimonials about how people transformed with him, the people, their lives changed, they lost 200 pounds, they made $1 million, they turned their relationship around and all that. And then you'll watch the intervention that Tony did with them, where it's like 2-hour intervention, you know, like back and forth, and just phenomenal things happen as a result of that. Great. And then you see the change, and they show you the testimonials and how great everything afterwards, how great everything is afterwards. The reality is that between when he did the intervention and the 2 years later when the person lost 200 pounds, or when the family came back together, or when the guy turned his business around, or whatever that was, Tony had his coaches working with them in tons of sessions, potentially 100 sessions in those 2 years. You don't see the coach on the testimonial. You don't see the coach in the intervention. You don't, I mean, sometimes it's more than one coach. You don't see those coaches. And I know because I worked on those teams when he was doing interventions with the very people you'll see on video nowadays, you know, on his YouTube channel or whatever. I know the coaches that worked with those guys. Again and again and again. They did a lot of the grunt work, so to speak. Now, did Tony bring his guru thing to the table? Yes. Was he a great coach for them during that one intervention? Yes. But if you think that one intervention was all that it took for 90% of those people to get where they are now, today, where they have the after picture, where everything's lovely, you're deluded on that, or you're just ignorant of the facts. So that's why those gurus employ us, because they need us a lot of times. Or they just waited for, like, after 3,000 people took their course, like 1 or 2 people got some great results and they focus on them, you know, and they use that confirmation bias basically. So that's a big reason why coaches are more important than gurus. I'm just going to check. We need to make this clear with our clients. Thanks, Thomas, for that. It's like, if you're working with a client and then we don't realize or remember how critical we are, how are our clients going to realize the value of that? You know, that I've had clients in the past where I've done that, I've screwed that up, or I didn't communicate that, or I miscommunicated that, and then the client quit coaching and they went to a Tony Robbins seminar. And then of course they had to hype up the peak, and then things went down after that. And that, you know, that's a failure on my part. Your responsibility as a coach partly is that they get the value from coaching. If they don't know what the value of you is, or the value of the conversation is, or the value of that process is, or that conversation, you're not going to give them the value. That's not on them, that's on you. That's your responsibility. Really, really great. Yeah, Mark says it's a systematic approach to producing predictable results. Right. It's that's not as sexy as a guru. It's not as sexy as I am the medicine man, or I am the authority, or I'm the president, or whatever, and I'm going to give you some of my magic sauce. That, I mean, everybody loves that. That's the easy button in personal growth, or in professional development, or in getting results. Absolutely. You know, so, you know, coaches need to work maybe a little bit more on making our offering sexier, but it's the mechanics that really makes a giant difference. People come to us often expecting to sit back and, yeah, things will just happen somehow, because they're trying to make us into a guru, and that's not what we're there for. You know, yeah, Thomas is absolutely right. It's like people come to us and they treat us like the author that they read last year, or the the seminar that they went to. They're like, in fact, I talked to a client the other day, a brand new client, and I mentioned her a little while ago in a different live stream, different conversation, and she was really upset, and she came to me. She said, you know, in your group, you know, I was told we were going to have 5 to 10 people on that group, and you only had 4. And I was told we were going to have a ton of different conversations I could listen to, and there were only 2 conversations in that session that you had. And I go a little deeper with people and have less conversations a lot of times. Not all the time, but sometimes. She said, I said, well, did you bring stuff up? And she's like, yeah, I brought stuff up and you gave me coaching, but I want to hear other people get coaching. I was like, really? Why? I didn't say that because it wasn't appropriate at the time. I needed to be there for her and work with her on her frustration in our program. But I was like, why did you just want to watch other people get coaching? I mean, this is for you. This is your situation. She's like, I want to learn from others, and I want more of that. So we talked about how she could get more of that because we have hundreds of recordings of plenty of conversations I've had that she can access. But what was odd about it was she was like overvaluing, I think, being in the audience, judging and assessing from the audience versus actually being on the court, being in the game, and actually getting coaching while she's playing that game. So I think it's a misconception a lot of clients have because of the world that the gurus built 40 years ago. When Zig Ziglar and you guys name them, all the other kind of gurus were kind of coming up, and they became the source of inspiration and transformation in other people's mind, and they really only did so much. So yeah, we got to turn that around. Yeah, I have tendencies to do the hard work for them during the sessions. Hardest thing is to convey the true value. Sorry, Mark, I'm reading yours. Hardest thing is to convey the true value that we actually provide. Most folks do not do the work long enough to get the results they desire. Yeah. And so could we actually, this word is confidence, but could we perhaps turn this into persistence? Because somebody maybe needs persistence. Maybe they think they need confidence, but they need persistence instead, right? So then, but maybe they're not persistent. What are you going to do? Like, this is what Gary would say is, be persistent. You got to be persistent. He talks about this actually, be patient, be patient, be patient, be patient. What's great about me, because it's Gary Vaynerchuk talking. What's great about me is I'm really, really fast moving, but I'm also really patient. Thanks, Gary. I'm not patient. Now what do I do? Right? We could actually create that patience in the client through our conversation, right? So maybe that's the first thing you do with some of your clients is build in that patience early on. Yeah, there's a fine line between empowering and enabling. Thanks, Mark, for that. It's it's like I can give you a bunch of guru stuff, which is still valuable to some extent, or I can really coach you and have you transform. And you're going to be doing a lot of the hard work there. So why would my clients stick around? Part of that is that coaching relationship that I provide and I'm responsible for providing, and I've been trained in and I've mastered to some extent. Part of it is at the end of the sessions, I'm going to throw all the resources I have at them to support them in that issue at that moment. I used to not really do that, but I take like a day a week now, and so after all the sessions I run, I'll go back and I'll say, I committed to send this person this video and this person this report and this person these examples, and to kind of do some of that legwork kind of for them. That's not the coaching role, so to speak, but it's part of what maybe me as a strategist, what I could provide as a strategist. So bottom line is, just as a takeaway before we go, because I got to run my mastermind group in like 5 minutes. You're valuable as a coach, and you're not just valuable, you're more valuable than a guru. You're more valuable than Gary Vaynerchuk is going to be for your clients. You're more valuable than any seminar they just went to. You're more valuable than all the personal growth books that they ever read. You are more valuable than that. And it's so important to remember that. All right, I'll take this one quick question from Thomas here. And then we're out of here. It's time for mastermind. I don't want to be late. So how would you communicate where are the lines of who is responsible for what during the coaching relationship? So I actually build in, I create an audio that they got to listen to that clarifies this. The conversation I just had with you about 10 minutes ago about them being the star, and that, I'm not the one who's right and who knows the truth and all that kind of stuff. They actually see that in a video. and then we have an audio that takes care of what I literally give them a laundry list of here's the things that will make it so you're successful in coaching, right? And I try to come from a positive perspective. And I think I give them a list of like 15, 20 things this is what hey, you want to be successful in this investment of $5,000 you just made? This is what's going to make sure you're successful. Come to the call with a result, follow through. What else what are the other elements that I'll tell them? Things like answer the question I actually ask you. Don't just tell me a story. This is one of the big ones that I'll tell somebody. And again, I've got things where I don't have to say this to every client necessarily, because I've got it in an audio version. But I'll say, look, just to clarify, all the results that you're going to get out of coaching and you're going to get from our process, you're 95% of those results, just so you know. And I'll explain kind of what we just talked about. It's like, why are you 95% of the results? Just from the mechanics of, we're going to do one call a week, 30 minutes. And by the way, it's 50-50 on the call. You're half the call and I'm half the call. So it's not that guru just throwing stuff down at you. The guru is everything. If you look at Gary's videos, it's like Gary talking like 98% of the time. It's about him. It's a self thing. And you see the same thing with a lot of other individuals who are great coaches, but they're really operating as the guru in how we're watching them. So anyway, point being, I'll share with them, you're 95% of the results that you get from coaching, because on the call you're 50-50, and then you're going to hang up the phone or get off of Skype or whatever, and you're going to go live your life, and I'm not there. I'm not there at that time. So because I'm not there at that time, you're going to go day after day after day. There's hours and hours. There's hundreds of hours where I'm not even around. And you're 100% of the results that you're getting from coaching during that time. So if we add it all up and did the averages, you're probably more like 99% of the results that you get from coaching, and I'm only 1% of the results. I'm giving almost nothing compared to what you give in that coaching relationship. I don't know if anybody's going to enroll in coaching if you say that before they enroll, but look, I'm not saying you can't have that conversation with somebody, because again, if you empower someone in that free session, then they'll be empowered to make the decision knowing they're the one that can shepherd their own growth, even from the free session. And this is literally what I would do when I ran free sessions. But I think sometimes when we enroll a client, we do them the disservice to make them think that it's going to be from us. And that's not coaching. And so at some point, even if it's after they enroll, I guess, they need to know, look, you're going to create the results here, not me. I'm just supporting the conversation. I'm holding the space in our calls. I'll provide all the resources I can to you. I'm here to be your cheerleader. I'm here to see what's going on and give you strategy support, to hold you accountable for actions. It's like that kind of stuff. That's what a coach does. But, I'm not gonna, most of your life, I'm not going to be there. I'm not your personal trainer. I'm your coach. So that's how I would communicate that. And again, that's a very short version. But Thomas, you have these resources. If you tap into the kind of coaching business in a box that we have, that covers the written, it's like a 15-page manifesto about how to get results from coaching. You probably have some version of that, but that should be in your intake package. And then if you really want to go above and beyond, turn that into a like a video or an audio that's so much easier for them to get through, because some of them aren't going to read your intake. They might just skim it, but it's really easy for somebody to see a video or listen to an audio. So I would communicate it that way as well. So all the details are available to you. Email me, Thomas, or DM me, and I'll get you that stuff, because that sets this coaching relationship up to work potentially, and gives them the right mindset. Plus, also, once they're getting those results like that, they're never going to leave. They could, but that's the cool thing, is you set the relationship up such that my clients don't need me anymore. That's my outcome. But they want me, and they want that relationship. And because they're more empowered and they're more wealthy or abundant, they're at a whole nother level of confidence, they're probably going to keep going. And if they don't, that's okay. because I know the value that I had, and I'll replace them with other clients because they know how valuable that relationship was for them to get them to where they are today. They become my billboard. All right, I'll talk to you another time. Take care.